Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast between Sen versus Hero, this time in the Xel'Naga Caverns. Should be an interesting matchup, but then again, I always say that. Here we have Sen spawning as the yellow Protoss player on the south side of the map. Meanwhile, we have Hero spawning on the north side of the map as the green Zerg. So Zerg versus Protoss once again. Let me go ahead and use that production tab and show you exactly what's happening in both bases at the same time. Now, Xel'Naga Caverns, one of those maps, only 2 spawning locations, so both players know exactly where the other player already is. And they do know that it is cross-spawn, so there is quite a bit of walking distances between these 2 bases. One gateway currently, or one pylon currently warping in over here. We may see a gateway here or here as well, depending on what exactly Sen wants to do with his front door. A probe now making its way out across the map in order to do some scouting. One overlord in the air will quickly see this probe and now knows that there is a relatively early scout, and now Hero needs to figure out what exactly his strategy will be. Will he try to go for an early hatchery or go for that spawning pool or even an early extractor into a spawning pool, allowing for metabolic boost? At this time, and based upon what I've seen Hero do in the previous game, I'm assuming that he will try to go for an extractor. Yeah, just because there is not going to be that much of a difference. I actually saw that extractor just a second as I was about to say it, so I don't know if it was subconscious that I said it or if I really thought he was going to try to go for extractor first. I was trying to make the decision on the fly. Anyways, the probe now wandering around on the inside here, able to get some damage onto some of those drones. 3 drones now making their way into the extractor and will allow this one spawning pool to have about 70 or 80 gas right as that one spawning pool is completed. It takes about 60 seconds in order to harvest 112 gas. The spawning pool was in play for quite some time before that extractor was up and running. So yeah, it will not be quite exactly 100 gas, but should be close enough. Gateway now, I'm sitting here. In addition to the Cybernetics core, we finally see more probes are being trained, but saving some of that chrono boost. A little bit curious as to why he's saving the chrono boost as opposed to trying to get a stronger economy going. We do see an assimilator now currently warping in down over here, so we may see perhaps a more higher tech tree movement, or we may just see another 4-gate with zealots and sentries, as sentries are very gas intensive units. Zergling's now trying to chase away this probe over here. This probe will take a fair amount of damage, will not be able to run away from those Zerglings. Zerglings do move slightly, ever so slightly faster than that probe, and that probe will get taken down in just a second. So one more slash should do it. There it is. So down goes that scouting probe, and there was a scouting overlord that was able to see a standard front door coming in from Jinro. Now back over here we do see that there is currently one probe, and this probe was trying to sneak its way in, but we do see that Hero does see that that one probe will be trying to come up that ramp in just a second. Zergling is now trying to come in over here, and I'm surprised that there is no proxy play on this side of the map. We do see a Stargate now coming online, so that Stargate most likely will be trying to train up some Phoenixes, as the Phoenix allows for a lot of map control, denying overlords and trying to contain the sight of your Zerg opponent. Gateway now being warped in as well, so it is going to be gateways with also a Stargate. We may see a 3rd gateway, as that does seem to be a standard build, 3-gate into star, 3-gate into star. One zealot will be able to hold off a lot of Zerglings there. The Zergling now trying to peck apart at those other buildings. That one zealot moving away, able to get off one attack, and now once again going to hit and hold in that position there. And now what will it be? It will be Void Rays. So Void Rays now being trained, and a Void Ray being straight rallied to this Overlord here. Now this is a pretty arguable strategy, as a lot of players say that you shouldn't reveal what your tech is unless your opponent knows it. I do not believe Hero. Yeah, Hero does not know about this Stargate, and by revealing this very, very early Void Ray, he may be overplaying his hand. It will allow Hero to go for an evolution chamber and then get some earlier spore crawlers, but the Void Ray wants to get that damage out very early into the game. You can see the one Void Ray currently sitting here already revealing itself to Hero, but it's not even bothering to attack. So this is probably the absolute worst in terms of strategy, where you reveal your strategy to your opponent but don't even punish him for it. So Yeah, a little bit of a misplay there. Finally, Sen moves out with that Void Ray. Void Ray will be able to deal some damage, and now Overlord will get shot down very, very easily. Down it goes. Back over here, some Zerglings are testing the front door, seeing if there is a Nexus. No Nexus just quite yet. But Sen is waiting and preparing. We do see one queen, another queen has been trained up as a second Void Ray also being trained, and now we are teching into layer. So the layer will allow for the training of those Hydralisks, and that's going to be absolutely critical. Hydralisks are very, very strong against those Void Rays. A Nexus should be coming down in just a moment, but it just feels late. Sen expanding very, very late once again. Harvester count 38 compared to 26. He's very, very much behind in the economy, and there's no reason for Hero to attack. Hero just can contain his opponent and then perhaps try to take up a third expansion at some point and still be ahead and wait until he almost gets about 160 on food, 160, 170, and then try to attack then, knowing that he will have the much larger army. Sen still just running off of one base right now, almost having a lot of energy on that Nexus. There is those 4 additional gateways, so he will be able to warp in more units, but those Zerglings are just playing a very, very dangerous game, trying to run up that ramp, will not be able to, and that Nexus was cancelled. Wow. So the Nexus was cancelled by by Sen, and now Sen moving out with a very, very strong army instead. And now Void Rays are already in the air trying to deal some damage. Those Roaches do move a little bit slower or at the same speed as those Void Rays, could turn around in just a second, try to deal some damage. And now we are going to see Stalkers and Void Rays push out. So this is a complete head fake by Sen. So Sen now moving out with a very, very strong army. Void Rays are in the air. The Void Rays could deal a lot of damage. Not quite sure why they're not engaging at this time, as there is a fair amount of Void Rays. So 2 Void Rays with a third Void Ray, yes, a third Void Ray on the way. A Pylon is already in play, and now those Void Rays are going to get a very, very decent charge there. The Void Rays should turn around, try to deal more damage perhaps. No, they're going to lose that charge once again. So a little bit, just not overcommitting, not really engaging in this fight and taking damage on his units. So that is not the smartest play. He really needs to press his advantage while he has it. He has the larger army, but he is also allowing his opponent to buy time and get a strong enough army to counter it. Void Rays are now coming in, and the Void Rays are now going after those queens. Queens are now going to get focused down, out of position. Stalkers dealing a lot of damage as well. Void Rays, instead of focusing on the Roaches, going after the queens instead, and now the Void Rays need to deal damage towards that Roach. One Void Ray does get shot down there. Stalkers now trying to push in over here, and wow, without those Void Rays dealing damage to those Roaches, this army just simply got torn apart very, very easily. Those Void Rays now trying to deal damage to this hatchery, may be able to shoot it down, as there are currently no queens in production. We do see a Hydralisk den now coming online, but it is going to be quite some time with only 2 queens now being trained. Will that queen be able to come out in time? It does need another 10 seconds or so, but I believe the damage will be dealt and that queen will not see the light of day. Oh, switching targets. That was a horrible mistake there, but able to still somehow keep it down. And now those Void Rays need to deal damage towards those towards these Overlords and those drones, perhaps getting a shot down there. But now we see the Hydralisk den. We should see a lot of Hydralisk now being trained as well. Void Rays need to deal damage, perhaps try to supply lock or do something, as the Roaches are now trying to come in as well. We do see 1 Sentry, 1 Void Ray racking up a lot of damage on those Roaches. More units now still coming in, as those 2 Void Rays were now able to snipe down that 1 queen. But we do see 4 Hydralisks now being trained. This 1 Hydralisk then may get shot down in time, but those 4 Hydralisks will be coming out trying to deal more damage. That should have just focused on the den instead. The den was already down to 300 hit points, and I think enough damage could have been dealt to snipe it. We now see that 1 Void Ray in the air over here. Perhaps we should see another counter push. There's so many Overlords in this position. They could have been shot down as well. Hydra is now trying to make their way over. It looks as though the hatchery will be saved, as that 1 Void Ray now once again tries to pull away. Void Ray will be able to pull away pretty successfully. Sen unable to capitalize on the larger army that he had, and now is going to pay the price. Void Rays, those queens did deal a large amount of damage. The Sentry should have pushed, just simply tried to nullify and push the queens out of position completely, and let the Void Rays take on those Roaches. The Roaches taking 16 damage per attack, 25 damage per second, or 25 damage per second if you don't account for armor. it would have just completely changed the outcome of that battle. But instead, the Stalkers and the Zealots were trying to chase him down, and it just wasn't enough. And now that things are not looking good, we now see one Void Ray once again on the move, trying to get some more map control. We'll be able to snipe down a Zergling there, but really not doing all too much, especially as Hero tries to take up his third base. Now, back here, we currently see one hatchery in place over here. Hydralisk once again on the move. Production-wise, no level 1 weapons upgrade, but we are getting that robotics facility. So robotics facility will be coming online in just a moment as well, getting those observers. But will Sen be able to get back into this game? This is going to be the key question, as probes are now being transferred from the main base. No weapons upgrade. We do, yeah, there's that robotics facility we were talking about earlier, but the army of Hero is just so strong right now and so mobile. 1825. And even though it's a little bit smaller in terms of the army size, you do know that the economy is still deeply in favor of Hero at this stage in the game. There are a decent number of sentries, but the force field placement hasn't been perfect. And at this level of StarCraft, it really needs to be perfect in order to be able to fend off those attacks. Those 3 queens, taking down so many of those Void Rays was really really critical. But I need to move on. We now see a hatchery being placed down here at the gold mineral location, and that is going to be a lot of drones now being trained up as well. Drones will be transferred over. This one Void Ray was able to get some more kills. I completely missed that before those Hydras were able to come in. And now Hydras are able to get in position, and now this Void Ray may get shot down. Yeah, down it goes. So we do have a little bit of an evening out. As that one Void Ray was able to take down multiple drones in this location. But by getting drones over here at the gold mineral location, you will see that the economy difference will deeply go in favor of Hero, as each drone here counts at like 1.5 drones almost, because of their mining speed. Stalkers now trying to take down these destructible rocks over here will be able to very easily, but in comes some Zerglings as well. Zerglings quickly running around, able to see that there is decent saturation at this base, and now in comes the fight. Hydralisk, being picked apart there. Hydra's unable to get that much damage. The Zealots should just try to hold off and not attack. Perhaps getting another force field. There we go, nicely done. But those 4 force fields will fall down in just a moment. But a lot of damage was dealt. But Hero is currently still in the lead, as the Hydras now coming in and pouring in from the other side as well. This is very bad, being flanked on 2 sides. Hydralisk now coming in from this direction as well. Stalkers need to pull back, make sure that they're only trying to fight against Hydralisk if they are on that close side of that force field, and not try to press any further. Hydra's now coming in once again, more force fields coming back, and just really pushing Sen into a corner. Sen trying to retreat, trying to get reinforcements, need to pull off probes. Probes now rushing in to try to take down those Hydralisks. Probes are taking a lot of that damage as well, allowing those Stalkers to focus down and deal more damage towards those Hydralisks. Hero, however, not microing his Hydralisk, needs to push in, and now that this ball of units is now moving in, we now see Jinro say Sen say GG. So yeah, Hero taking 2 games to nothing against Sen. And first on Metalopolis, and now here in the Xel'Naga Caverns. Really well played by Hero. Hero just knowing a very strong balance between producing a strong economy and getting a large enough army. It always felt like Hero never had the larger army until the very end, or even the imaginal army, but he always had the stronger economy. Goes to show you how effective power droning is. Sometimes as a Terran or a Protoss player, you need to send units, what I call a keep honest force, against a Zerg. Something that at least makes your opponent train units. If you don't, then he will be able to power drone, get up to 50 drones so quickly, especially when he's able to train up about 20 drones every minute with off of 2 bases, off of 2 hatcheries with 2 queens. And that is a lot of drones, especially if you compare it to a Protoss player, if he's only 1 basing, he's only able to train up 4 probes every minute, 5 at most, 5 or 6 at most if you're chrono boosting. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed this 1v1 replay and this best of 3 series between Hero and Sen, ending here in the Xel'Naga Caverns.